Okay. Okay, then we're going to talk about EcoFlora for the first product. This product, how they change the page, Joanne?
I will change it for you.
Oh, you change it for me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a product, this is a powder product. It's totally soluble in water. Yeah. It can be applied to many types of irrigation, then it doesn't clog the system or anything because it really got into solution. As you can see, there is a very large number of strains of microbes present in this product. This is not just a random selection, and I'm going to explain how we did this selection of microbes and combination of microbes. And then we have all these microbes, and we have a nutrient media. Next. The nutrient media is very essential. It's one of the most important parts of this product. Microbes need to be fed in order to produce all the compounds that we need. Those are very expensive molecules, very hard to build. And if they are not well fed, they are not going to produce them. Then they're going to grow, they're going to multiply, you know, but they're not going to produce anything. Then it's totally worthless. And that's one of the biggest problems of biological products, that people think, just put them in the field and they will start working. But they will work if they have the means to do it, right? But if they don't, they are really handicapped. Here in these graphs, you can see the nutrient media that we made is the green line, and the TSB, that's the tryptic soy broth. That's one of the most common generalistic media for microbes in laboratory. These media cost hundreds of dollars a pound. It's very, very expensive. And as you can see, the microbes that we are using grow better in our media than in the laboratory media, which is just unbelievable. Yeah, and because this media, the laboratory media, obviously you cannot put in the field because of the cost, but with ours we can. Then that's a huge difference. Next. Then first of all, let's see what it's doing. These microbes are very root competent. They are associated with the roots of the plant. And as you see, when we dip the roots in this solution, this is a root of rice. You can see the covering, all these little specks that you see, all these little balls, those are bacteria. Then they really make a layer covering the roots and forming association with the plant. That's very, very important. From the biochemical part, from the ecological part of association, and on a physical part, it forms a barrier, a really physical barrier, so that pathogen, nematodes, all these will have a harder access to the roots. Yeah. And next. This is a problem that we have in agriculture. And this is the major thing that is damaging our soils. If we start from the top of the picture, we see that we use fertilizers and pesticides. We're going to send you this post, so that you don't, you know, don't worry about taking notes, you know, because you're going to have this information. Yeah. Then we add fertilizers and pesticides. That's our routine method of growing crops, correct? Then what happened? The fertilizers that start is NPK, very limited composition, chemical composition. Therefore, very limited growth of the diversity of microbes present in the soil, because they are fed with very different compounds. And here we are feeding them only NPK, NPK, NPK. Therefore, a lot of them are going to die. The diversity is going to go down, and the density also go down. Pesticides, even worse. Pesticides are toxics. Then even though, for example, we say, oh, this is a fungicide also kills bacteria. A nematicide can kill bacteria. Yeah. Then all of these compounds are not so strict as their activity they want to pretend it to be. Then what we do when we add fertilizer and pesticides, we're killing the life in the soil. Then this reduces the cycling of nutrients because microbes are the ones in charge of cycling the nutrients, right? Converting everything, passing from one form to the other. Then if we reduce this diversity and density, we're reducing the efficiency of nutrient cycles. This decreases the available organic matter present in the soil, obviously. And then the plant start not being able to have organic matter, have to depend on the fertilizers that we are providing. Now, these fertilizers are incomplete. Unfortunately, they are not complete. Therefore, there is a nutrient deficiency and the plant becomes weak. And when the plant is weak, attracts pathogens. Yeah. Then what we do? We add more fertilizer and pesticides. We are creating more and more of this circle. Now, when we add fertilizer and pesticides also, we are increasing salinity because it's a characteristic of those chemical compounds. And when we increase salinity, also we are decreasing diversity because a lot of the bugs in the soil don't like high salt. And we are also increasing the irrigation costs because we need to wash those salts. Therefore, we are diluting the nutrients. All of these mechanisms are destroying the soil, okay? And that's our routine. We have been doing this for years and years and years. Then you can see the damage that we can have. Next, Leon. Thank you. Now, I show you the picture in which we had the bacteria close to the root of the plant. What is the major significance of that? When you look at the density of microbes in the soil, we imagine at the beginning that they're going to be spread all over. Small, you know, they all should be all over. No, that's not the case. When you go and you look at the number of microbes present, if you go to the attachment of the root, that's where you have the highest density of microbes. And as you go away from the roots of the plant, yeah, and these are millimeters. These are not far distances. This is 1.8 millimeters. That's very, very small distance. We are going 5 logs in decrease on numbers of microbes. Yeah, it's huge, the decrease of number of microbes. Therefore, what is the reason that microbes like to be close to the root? And there is a very, very interesting response for that one. Next, please. The plant root excretes 20 to 25% of the photosynthetic carbon. It leaks out of the plant. At the beginning of the century, when the physiologists found that, they thought plants are very deficient. It's inefficient, totally wasteful. Yeah? They thought it was a mistake of nature. It turns out it wasn't. What happened is that bacteria are the organisms in our planet with the highest amount of nitrogen of all the organisms that we have. Therefore, the carbon nitrogen is 3. It's very small. When these bacteria are consumed by predators like protozoa, protozoa have much more carbon, 10 times more carbon, 10 to 30 times, yeah? You can see the difference. And nematodes even more carbon than nitrogen. These predators eat on bacteria, they have to excrete nitrogen because if not, they get poisoned. And that's the form of nitrogen that the plants prefer. That's the best nitrogen. That's the normal nutrition of plants. That's the way the ecology feeds the plants. You go to a forest, you don't have fertilizers. This is the way that plants feed in a forest. Yeah? Then if we're killing this system of feeding, we're really affecting the productivity of plants because we make them very dependent on what we are adding, right? Okay, next. Now let's look at the strains that we have in this product. First of all, I look for different mechanisms to be occurring at the same time because we need different processes to occur. At the same time, we want many strains to do the activity because why? Because, and that's one of the problems of products that have only one biological product, one ingredient. You can never have one organism in top growth under different conditions of the environment, such like you have in a field crop. You have cold temperatures in the morning, warming up in the afternoon. There's different in water, difference in fertility. You know what I mean? You have a very dynamic system, and that makes that you cannot have a microbe always growing under all those conditions. That doesn't exist. So if we have several strains doing the same activity, we increase the possibilities that the mechanism is going to be happening during different times of the day, okay? Then, for example, nitrogen fixing bacteria. We have bacteria that take nitrogen from the air, fix it, and transfer it to the plant. And then we have 3 strains, very strong, doing this activity. You're going to notice also that several of the strains, we call them in different categories. And that's because these strains do different activities at the same time. And that's one of the important things. Also, the combination, I didn't toss this bacteria like that saying, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. This doesn't work like that. I'm going to give you an example. We did a trial controlling of diseases with 3 strains. One strain get like 50% control, biocontrol, and the other ones don't get any. No, let's say one 50, the other one 50, and the other one 10, okay? Then you think, okay, if we put the 2 50s together, we're gonna have maybe 100% biocontrol. And what happened? We get 0. They don't get along, those strains. And sometimes we get one strain that has 50%, and we add another strain that has nothing, no effect whatsoever. We put them together and we get 99%. Yeah. Then composition, the strains is not additive, it's all the way they interact between them. We have to test each one. Now in second category, we have the phosphate mineralizing and solubilizing bacteria. These microbes, as you can see, there are quite a few of them. They take organic matter and break it down and liberate the phosphorus. They mineralize the phosphorus. They also can take the mineral part and make it solubilize it. So they can transfer, transform, and make it available depending on the needs of the plant. Then we have the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. These strains, they produce different hormones that stimulate different parts of the plant. Gibberellin, auxin, cytokinins, all these hormones are very important for plant production, for plant growth and development. And all these bacteria will do it. Then we have, next please. Then we have the bacteria that induce systemic resistance. They just go to the plant and they stimulate the natural health system of the plant. And you have this category, which are microbes that are antagonistic to pathogens in many different mechanisms of action. And as you can see, we have quite a few in that category. And that gives normal biocontrol. Then, as you can see, then we have 5 different types of mechanisms and 5 mechanisms that are very, very important from different concepts. And it's very general. It applies, that's the good about this product. We have used it from the high mountains in South America, 9,000 feet high, yeah, 10,000 feet high in potatoes. It works fine. And we have tried in Mexico, in the deserts, in the hottest parts of Mexico. It works perfect. Then that's the good thing about this combination of microbes. They have a very wide range of activities. We can be very consistent in different fields because of that, those characteristics of strain composition and nutrition. We guarantee that as soon as we put the microbes, they're gonna be able to build a population and start producing their things. And once they establish with the plant, then feeding with the plant, associated with the plant, they don't need extra feeding because they're going to be feeding from the plant. But at the beginning, we need to give them that little push. And that's what a lot of people don't understand yet in the biologicals, that they need that push. It's not just throw them in by themselves and say, hey, fend by yourself, you're on your own, you know? Then we guarantee better results. Next, please. Now, those rates, we have established some concentrations of product that work very well. We can do put it in the media, in the nurseries, in the soil, or, and then apply it in the nurseries often. It's good to apply often. Why? Because yes, they can establish in the field, but if you apply more often, you trigger more of a food chain, because these bugs are bigger than the natural native bacteria. Then predators rather eat these probiotic bacteria than the natural ones. I'm going to give you an analogy. For example, you have a bowl of M&Ms in one side, and you have on the other side chocolate bar, yeah, a Hershey chocolate bar. Okay, energetically, you're gonna eat the chocolate bar, one movement, grab the bar and eat it. You spend X amount of energy in that movement of getting it, put it in, and consume it. Okay, but the M&Ms, you have to grab one by one. That's a lot of energy, grabbing one by one. Second, you have the microbes have a membrane that covers them, and then the juicy nutrients are inside the microbe. It's not the membrane that is nutritious, it's the inside. Now, the smaller you are, the bigger the proportion of membrane that you have. Yeah? It makes sense, right? Because you have a very little liquid and a very big membrane. And then as you increase, the volume increases exponentially as the membrane doesn't increase exponentially. Yeah. Then from the amount of goodies that you're getting much more goodies from a big juicy bacteria than from a bunch of little tiny ones that have a lot of membrane. Then nutritionally, microbes, even though we don't think they're intelligent, the predators, they go for the best meals. They go for the bigger bugs, and they are selective predator. Okay. Now, regarding cost, obviously, for example, they are depending on the industries. The flower industry, I worked many years in the flower industry in South America. It's a very professional, high-end, probably the most technified flower industry in the world with the Netherlands. And these apply products every single day. Cocktails of chemicals every single day. It costs them a fortune. We were applying bacteria several times a week, a couple times a week. And these people replace completely all their chemicals, everything. Less labor, no toxicity, better production, better quality, longer stems, bigger flowers, heavier flowers, longer shelf life, better colors. I mean, the whole list goes on. And the interesting part is that then these businesses, when they compare the amount of cost that they have with the other things and the application of biologicals, they were applying 50 gallons per hectare per cycle. That's a lot of bacteria. When we were applying 3 gallons per a vegetable, for example, then 50 to 3, huge difference. But because of the economics of that business, it pays them very well. Now, we cannot go, obviously, if we go to a spinach farm and we tell them apply 2 times a week, probably they get amazing crops, but it's never going to be pay for the product, you know? Then for them, we have only a few applications. We go to the specific moments in which we want to apply the product. Then the key moments are planting, tree-leaf stage, before flowering, and before fruiting set. Yeah, those are the general moments of the plant with the highest demand of energy. Then let's target the application just before that period so that the plant, when it goes to that need of energy, has all the goodies to do it. Yeah. Grains, we go to grains, for example. Grains is the cheapest product, they cannot put a lot of material on it, then we go only to 1 to 2 applications. Yeah. At emergence and preflorescence, you know, sometimes only 1, you know, because of cost, and they get really good benefits for that. Ornamental crops, we can go a couple more applications because they pay more. And for example, in crops like strawberries, we have been able, I worked a long time ago in California, and we were able to get totally organic strawberries, no methyl bromide, and really big fruits, juicy, more sugar, not hollow, completely solid, you know, top quality. And that, for that, obviously you can afford to pay to use product every month, apply the product every month, because it pays by itself really fast. Also in strawberries, usually they get the first 3 months of table quality, and then after that it goes to processing because the quality goes down, you know. With this, they go all till the end of the harvest with table quality. Yeah. Then for the grower, they go first in the market because they start producing before. They get totally organic. They don't have to pay for those chemicals that are very expensive. I mean, methyl bromide is like $3,500 an application, I think, you know. Then it's really expensive. With that budget, you already pay for the whole biological program. Yeah. Then that depends on the type of crop. Then you can apply the product to the soil, especially for example, when you're planting, it's the most convenient, to the soil, or foliar, later on when the plants grow, you apply foliar and it also does the same benefits. Okay? Next, please. Okay, then we have for root crops or all the doses, fruit trees, you know, lower concentrations, flowers, then we can go in different dosage rates depending on the intensity. If you grow indoors in greenhouses or you grow outside in the field, you know, because usually in greenhouses, the quality is much higher. They can really get, you know, flowers for much more price than they can afford much more. Golf courses, it works very well, and hydroponic systems. Next. Let's see some examples of the effect of this product. Here's a banana plants grown without and with the bacteria. It's very obvious, not only the size, but the stage of development. You look at the plant, the size of the leaves, the number of leaves, the stage of development is much higher. Yeah, next please. Then it's not only the size that matters. Here, it's also bananas. Look at the difference. But what is more amazing is here, look, you have some under control, you have some small plants at the same time that you have some plants that have developed. The difference between of them is huge. When you look at the treated, it's more homogeneous. You don't have that difference. Yeah, this is very important for a nursery because when you're planting, your rate of growth is going to be much more homogeneous. You keep going everybody at the same time, at the same pace. You're not going to lose plants. Some of these plants are never going to make it, you know, the tiny ones, you know, or their growth is going to be completely different from the next one. And you start having those unbalances in the fields. Everything starts to get to change. When you have homogeneous, everything is much more, for harvesting, for everything is much more convenient. Yeah. Next, please. And here this is in Germany in tomato plants. You can see the difference is just amazing. Next. And that's when they plant them in the field. That's the type of crop. You can see how homogeneous is in the field, how beautiful, how healthy. And when you open them, just wonderful produce. Yeah. Next. Now, tomatoes. This is very interesting. We're going to compare with the other product we're going to talk later because we did this nursery did the same trial with both products, and it's very interesting to compare them. As you can see here, we did 3 treatments. The first one, the empty column, is just soils that were not treated. These soils were very unhealthy. Then the two others, they were sterilized by heat. And then one, the red dot, the red slashes, it was no addition of probiotic of EcoFlora, and the other one did receive the addition of the bacteria. And as you can see, after 8 days, you can see already differences between the ones receiving and not receiving the bacteria. 10 days, and then it's very similar. You know, there's always a bump in the growth. Now, next, please. When we go at the plant height, big difference, significant. And look at the weights, all statistically difference between treated and non-treated. For the whole plant, for the root and for the foliar. All of the three components go much bigger in the treated plant. Next. We look at the production of leaves. This is very interesting. When we look, the plant, after 20 days, the plant is kind of plateau. It's not producing any more leaves. It reached a level before 3 leaves, and that's it. It doesn't go beyond that. The ones treated, they continue producing leaves. Yeah. Mortality by damping off. In the untreated soils, you can see very big disease pressure. Then it was really important to disinfect those soils. And in the disinfected soils, you can see much less disease, significantly less disease in the one treated with our biological products. Next. This is a processed tomatoes in a completely different place. Here you can see the yields per acre increase 14%, the sugar 7%. That's the total acids, I think, yeah. And the Boswick is the term of reject from Germany. This was a German study. And 13% less loss of product, yeah? Then one of the good things about, and you're gonna see this in many of the trials, and I'm gonna show you more, we have quality always goes up, and that's very important. Maybe for commodities, a lot of people are not caring too much, you know, but eventually things are gonna, people are gonna start paying more attention to quality, flavor, taste, nutrition. Next, please. This is in potatoes, 2 applications. No, 3 applications, planting, emergence, and 40 days. And this is very good trial also. You can see this is the control, this is the treated. We have not only, when you look at kilograms per square meter, we went from 1.1 kilograms of the large to 2.2. We doubled the production of large potatoes. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. But what is interesting also is when you look at the proportion in all the, you have less discard, you have, you know, but when you look at the total proportion, 70% was good, large quality potatoes for the controls. Here we have 91% of the potatoes in the large quality, yeah? Then not only we're getting more total potatoes, but the quality goes, you know, to a different level. Next. This is also a potato trial. This is in South Africa. This was done by 3 different applications. Control is none. They don't have any application. The treatment number 2, they apply it to the seed. Treatment to the number 3, to the seed, and 1 application in the field. The irrigation, and the 4th is just the one by irrigation. And then next, the results. Okay, as you can see, the control, 412 grams. When we did the seed treatment, 493, very big jump. When we did the 2 applications, huge jump. And when we did only the irrigation, it was smaller than the seed treatment. This is a very interesting result. If we can go back to the slide, previous slide, please. You can see the amount of product applied. Here it was 500 grams for the seeds. You apply very little. For the field application, you apply much more because you have to flood the field with the microbes. Yeah. Then this is 20 liters application. Then this application of field application are quite high, and we got better results by applying to the seed 500 grams than applying 20 liters to the field. Yeah. Then that's very interesting, very important. Then that's why I like very much the seed applications. The seed application, we are using very little amount of product. It goes really where you want. It doesn't go to waste in other areas of the field that don't need it, you know? Very point application, and the result is there, yeah? Next, please. Thank you. This is a broccoli trial. It was done in South America. Also 3 applications. And what is interesting here is we increase the growth of the flowers at all levels, the diameters, the number of flowers at different levels, but you can see it's quite significant, the difference between treated and untreated. Next. And here are the numbers. When you look at the average weight per head, the average of the control was 2.1 pounds. We went to 2.6 pounds. But what was interesting is not only the difference in size, it's the variation. The coefficient of variation is 52%. Yeah, it's very, very large. Here is 23, it's half. They are more consistent, the size of the heads. Now we look at the yields. They did 2 harvests in this broccoli farm. In the control, the first harvest, they got 42. And the second harvest was a little lower, which is normal. That's the typical thing. The first harvest, you get more production. And here again, the coefficient of variation 50s, close, and the second 45, quite high. When we go to EcoFlora, bigger first harvest, much bigger second harvest. That's interesting. And the coefficient of variation is half of what it was before, yeah, without treatment. Then we're not only increasing the amount of production, the size of the production, and we reduce the variation. Those are very important parameters, economical parameters for a grower. Next, please. This is in flowers. And I chose this, I have tons of trials with flowers. I chose this one because it's something very interesting. Biologicals don't work always the same. That's when people say, how much do I expect to improve my growth, you know? We can always say, oh, for example, in numbers, we can always say, for every box you put, you're gonna get between $1 and $30 of return on your investment, yeah? 10 times to 30 times, that's very good. But you can never say, for sure in this field, that's what I'm gonna get, you know, because we don't know. These are biologicals. Then look at the second side of the dose B, use Forever Amber, it's a variety of rose, in 2 different types of soils, a normal soil and a deteriorated soil. And you can see the increase in production was only 10% in a normal soil. This was a very good soil, excellent soil, yeah? There's not much room for improvement when you have such good quality conditions. But if you go to a bad soil, you increase by 210% the production, yeah? Then the worse the condition is, the better the result is, okay? And then on the left side, you can see 2 different flowers, pink parfait flower show. And in both cases, you can see around 55% for one, 100% for the other, you know, increasing production. Then it all depends on the variety of plant, the type of soil. There's a lot of parameters that are gonna be playing around, but we can always say we're gonna get a benefit. All right, next please. Now we're talking about turf and golf courses and different things. Here there is a very common disease, the sand dollar. It's very common. And here we compare it with chemicals. And you can see we are in a very similar ballpark control of the disease than a chemical. We're not far away. Next. When we compare with biological, these are biological products already in the market, soil guard, root guard, they have been in the market for quite a while. We're much better than them doing the bug control. Actually, I sent the product to the company that sells root guard, and they did a trial with Phytophthora, and we control Phytophthora much better than they do. And in several trials, we have been able to show that we have a very good biological control activity. Next. The product can be applied directly to the field, but sometimes it takes a while between preparation of the blend, the solution, and applied, especially in big farms, right? And some people were very concerned that the microbes might wake up because they come asleep. When the product in powder, the microbes are asleep. They have a shelf life of years. As long as you keep moisture out and light off, they are going to survive. Then the problem is when you put water, they come back to life. And if they don't have air or food, they can die. Then if they stay too long in the suspension without going to the field, that can be bad. But then I made some modifications on the formulation so that we can have a method of incubation. And even if they leave them only suspended in water for half a day, nothing is going to happen because they have buffers and different compounds that allow that their activity is not going to kill themselves. Yeah? Then one method of making the product more cost effective is to brew it. I don't recommend too much this because people are very creative and they sometimes screw it up because they think that they know everything, and sometimes they screw up big time. And I can have some videos proving the worst application of this, and they are done by huge corporations. And I say, oh my God, how can they do it, you know? But that's what I don't like to push it too much. But just for you guys to know, you put a tap water, you chlorinate the water with 10 ppm of chlorine. You add the product at 10 grams per liter for 18 to 12 hours. With aeration, you can multiply the box 100 times. Yeah? Then that would be very good if you have a very big extension of farm or something like that, and they want to do big applications, they can do it most cost effective. But they have to follow this procedure really well. First, use good tap water. Second, really chlorinate the whole thing. Yeah? And I have farms that they use water from fish ponds to do this, full of organics, with disease. Some don't chlorinate. They use directly the water and they start growing the bacteria in water with fish disease. Of course, they're going to multiply the disease, you know, and add something that they don't want. In this way, if we follow this strictly, we get a guaranteed product. But the main thing, the main lesson about this is that if they prepare the product and leave it for several hours before application, nothing is going to happen to it. Especially if they can aerate it, much better. Next, please. Okay, then several warnings about the use of these products. Don't use antagonistic fungicides or bactericides, especially at the same time. When you do a biological application, let's say you use this product. Okay, let me back off. These products are fantastic for organic growers. Perfect, perfect, perfect tool for organic growers. But they can be also used by conventional growers. How? As long as we follow certain rules, they're going to get the benefits of the biologicals. First, don't use antagonistic fungicides or bactericides close to the application of the biological. Apply it 1 week before the biological or 1 week after the biological, so that you leave time for the biological to get association with the plant. Okay? copper. I know copper, a lot of people love copper. It's a very good fungicide. It's one of the most toxic compounds you can put in the soil. It never goes away. It binds to clay and it accumulates through time. And if you look at the composition of a lot of the products that they sell to growers, they all have a little bit of copper. Add to that budget, make the addition. I have done it. I've done the homework in the flower industry. It's unbelievable how toxic they can be, those soils, just because of the copper. Yeah, then be careful of copper. Always flush irrigation lines before applying the biologicals. Sometimes we use acids for cleaning the pipes, you know, or chemicals, the very high acid fertilizer, something like that. And there are some residuals that stays in the pipes. We want to flush that so that when the biological comes and goes into the field, it doesn't have that change in composition that might burst them. Wait 1 week before I'm applying the biological to apply the pesticides, as I told you before, and apply the products in the morning or afternoon to avoid the high heat. Yeah, then it's not that difficult and it can be incorporated. Then that's very useful. Okay, any questions so far? No? Okay, let's go.